All right, we're live. And I got to drop off like right at 10 or just before 10 because I got a meeting at 10:30 downtown. So
okay.
I've got my new camera, my video camera. I've got it hooked up to this little box that lets me use it as a webcam. So super high quality.
Cool.
So no Josh today. I think Josh, hopefully he hasn't offed himself. He's not been too happy with the results we've been getting. We did a membership drive, and
what did you guys get this time around?
Well, he messed up the last email. Like he closed the cart at UTC like -4 or like 0.04 or something. What was it? It was set to like UTC -4 minutes instead of UTC -4 hours.
Oh.
So it screwed up the whole thing. So we had to send out another email. So let me see what we ended up with, but it wasn't quite what we were expecting. It was 30 or 32 sales, it looks like so far. So it might go up a little bit more. I think we probably lost a good, probably 5 sales off of that from the screw up.
Oh,
so again, not quite. I mean, it's not horrible results, but on his other membership drives, he got like 56, 55, 88.
And this one was total how much?
It's 32 right now. So people don't want me back. That's like, they're like, oh, John is back. I'm going to cancel my membership, actually. Not signing up for that shit.
Well, Josh must be happy then.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So we'll see.
You know, I like the camera, the new camera. It starts, when you move, it doesn't focus that fast. And it's got like, it's hazy when you move.
Yeah,
compared to a computer camera.
It's got autofocus, that's why, because it's like, it's depth.
When you go slow, that's fine. But when you go fast, it'll definitely screw it up.
Yeah.
A fast is not even noticeable, just like that will cause it to screw up.
Yeah, it depends if I go out of the field of, the field of vision or whatever. So it's going to focus on whatever's in the forefront. So, but but other than that, I've been kicking ass this week. Got the Bulldog Mindset stuff. I've been doing just like 8 to 10 Pomodoro a day, pretty much every single day. I've already got like 4 done this morning. So, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I recorded like the audio book for the How to Stop Being Lazy. That's submitted to ACX. I've got the Bulldog Mindset podcast. You guys saw the final logo, right, of Bulldog Mindset?
Yeah, I did.
So I got the logo done, and then I'm working with the logo designer to actually design the website. So he's going to do the website banners and all that. So that'll be cool once I have that done. And then I've got I'm launching the audiobook next week. I've got that all scheduled. I've got Instagram clips going now. Pretty much every day. And what else I got, man? A ton of stuff. Went through YouTube and set up a bunch of playlists and default cards. I started working on the whole the Amazon influencer page, Manny. But that shit has taken me a long time. I've already spent like 5 Pomodoros on it. And
you should get your guy to do it for you.
There's nothing that he could do that would make it any faster. I have to make the list of all the things. It takes a second to drop it in there. It's a matter of making the list of all the things.
Well, that's a good thing though. That means you have a lot to tell.
Yeah. I've basically got like, top 10 books that everyone should read. Books that changed my life, which is like 27 books. And there supplements I take, running gear, fitness gear, tech gear. So I guess I'm probably pretty close to having it all done, but it makes sense to. I think it's going to work out good though. That's a really good thing to be able to point people to. So
yeah, I think it's going to be good, consistent money.
But yeah, Bulldog Mindset is looking good. I'm getting like about 15 email subscriptions per day now, and the conversion rate on that quiz is still like over 50%, which is just insane.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so that's from the pop-up. When people see the pop-up, they take the quiz like 50% of the time. So and sign up for email. So I think it's gonna kill. So
nice.
And then I made an awesome call on Tesla stock. I bought some options about 4 days before the earnings came out, like $20,000 worth of Tesla options at like a $265 call price. So basically $20,000 worth of Tesla options. Right now, holy shit, it just went up again. Holy crap. It went up $16,000 today. So right now, that $20,000 worth of options I bought is worth $68,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so not a bad haul. I wish I would have bought $200,000 worth of options.
Yeah,
right. I would have bought $2 million worth of options. $2 million worth of options.
I should have maxed out my trade account, like just did like $1 million worth of options. Then I would have been, made a nice easy $2.5 million.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know. But I'm happy with a gain of like, what is it, like $50,000 almost. So
yeah,
in a week.
Yep.
Very cool.
Can't argue with that.
So are you moving ahead with things? I mean, you've set up the webpage and you've got the logo and the podcast and stuff, but have you actually launched content under Bulldog Mindset yet?
I've got the first, the YouTube channel has been going, right? So that's, we also relaunched the Simple Programmer YouTube channel this week. So I'm putting content out on there as well. And then I just wrote my first blog post for Bulldog Mindset this week. I'll be publishing that on Monday. That'll be like, what is the Bulldog Mindset? The big kind of core article there. And then Instagram has been going crazy with putting out Instagram stuff. I've got like little clips. So I'm taking the YouTube videos and I'm having Rodrigo make clips from them. And then doing it kind of Gary V style. So I got that implemented, Manny. He's got the text above and then the text at the bottom. So the newer clips. So it'll probably like there's 5 more clips and then those ones will start rolling out. So yeah. So basically, working on that. Got the email list going with Bulldog Mindset. So it's pretty much the other thing I did was I hired a pixel artist this week to create the badges and the emojis, custom emojis for the YouTube membership. Right, YouTube allows you to have like a membership where people can become members for $5 a month. So I hired this pixel artist to take the Bulldog Mindset logo and to make emojis and the badges for that. So that'll be, we'll see. I'm not going to like heavily promote it, but that'll be like some extra revenue because there'll be plenty of people like the super fans for the channel will want to pay the extra $5 a month to be members, right? To be able to get this stuff. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
Cool.
Are you gonna put it all on? I guess podcast is also coming. YouTube podcast.
Podcast is out already.
It's the same.
It is. No, it's a new podcast, but it has to be approved. I think I'm still waiting.
Same audio as YouTube.
Yeah, same audio as YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for it to show up. I haven't gotten the email from iTunes yet that says that it's good. So I'm just let's see if they've. I'm waiting for the ACX book to get approved too.
ACX.
The Audible.
Oh right.
But yeah, I think the audiobook will do well. That'll be a big win.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of automation and segmentation and all that stuff to kind of reconfigure or kind of clean up everything, make it nicer and more streamlined this time around. I guess this is kind of something you need to do every quarter, more or less. Otherwise, things go out of whack, and new products come in, and they kind of lose their position. Like, it becomes complicated unless we are constantly. How often are you guys doing like your automation, like macking around with the automation, like every week?
Yeah, I've been lately, but that's mostly because that's kind of the big thing that I've been working on. So
this is almost like your first time around doing it, right, Chuck?
I mean, I've done some before. I used Zapier pretty heavily in the past, but
why are you using Zapier?
So the way that I had things set up, I was using Schedule Once, and then whenever somebody scheduled on Schedule Once, it would create a Google Doc for them to give us information to prep with, and then it would email them through SendGrid and say, hey, here's the doc, make sure that we have something to prepare with, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm pulling all that into Podwrench. So it's kind of the next level, and it's all custom.
All right. But in terms of your email list, are you doing any automation there? Or you're still...
I need to figure that out, because my email list hasn't been growing, but I haven't really focused on that.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to say it.
So, well, it hasn't been growing, and the reason is because I haven't gone out of my way to set anything up so that people, see something they want there and will sign up. So I need to push that. I need to kind of solidify the core message on the mailing list. So anyway, there are a couple of things that are in play there, but I kind of want to get the content production stuff clicking along. I may actually delegate some of that to Michelle and have her do some of the automation and stuff there. So I just show her how to set up like lead magnets and things like that. And then
yeah, so that will be a process to figure out the right lead magnets and figure out the right automation sequences, especially for indoctrination or for selling something.
Yeah.
You're not really selling anything right now on your email list, are you?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I could do some affiliate things, but I haven't really pushed on any of that either.
You should try and sell John's how to market yourself.
Maybe. That, or, yeah, I'm sure some of John's products would appeal to my audience.
Yeah. You could put the affiliate gauntlet in there.
True. Yeah, the affiliate gauntlet is a good strategy always. We're using that
affiliate gauntlet.
Basically, like, have an email sequence where what you're doing is that you just, you're teaching something, or you have some, something that, and you're just able to recommend a bunch of different products that they need in order to solve the problem. So, like, we do that with the blogging course, and we end up doing, like, we've got Bluehost in there for building your website. We've got Thrive themes in there. We've got...
I see, like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, but that always requires a certain level of... The good thing is, if you haven't really segmented your audience at all, Chuck, you're actually in a good spot, because you can start from ground zero right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like all messed up because I've got so many different segments and like different places that people come in now that it gets complicated. And I'm sure John and Josh have similar problems. Well, Josh has I'm going to call Josh the simple programmer guy and John the Bulldog guy so that we don't confuse it. So Josh has more of the problem. John and you have it simpler right now because it's just one entry point, more or less, right?
Yeah, I mean, different people demonstrated different interest in like JavaScript versus Ruby versus, so I've got them segmented by show.
Okay, so you do have segments.
But, I mean, for the most part, I get the same general level of people coming in, so.
Yeah. No, that's you actually need that. You need that segmentation to know who's the Java guy, who's the Ruby guy, and who's what, so that you can start selling accordingly.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, yeah, if you haven't really sold anything on the email, and if you're just focused on Podwrench, you might as well put in some automation there to sell.
I should.
Course or whatever you want. One of
Well, I could put in automation that essentially, it basically puts them through a number of offers. So, are you interested in this aspect of things? And if they are, then I can give them a little content and then say, hey, there's more content in this affiliate.
Because your list is not really being used at all, other than the book and the course from where you did, which you are not really really doing much about. So that might be another 6 months before you get back to doing that, right? If you're gonna do Podwrench for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will admit that I have done a little bit more on the book, but it's when I really just can't not do it. It's like, look, I gotta get this out of my head so I can get on the other stuff.
So you've got how many people on your email list?
About 15,000.
Yeah. So I'd say that, I mean, the best thing to do is, and it's kind of what I'm doing with Bulldog Mindset right now, is I've just got it in a holding pattern because I don't really have anything strong to pitch at this point. So what I've done is created essentially the affiliate gauntlet. I've just created an email sequence, an autoresponder sequence, and I'll be filling that up with some more emails. And the idea is that, you just kind of create this sequence of the emails out there, and you've got some affiliate deals in there. Like I've got Manny's course that I'm pitching in there for mental toughness. And then you're just, while you're in that holding pattern before you actually have something really to launch, you're still monetizing the list and you're still keeping people engaged. And then it doesn't require you to constantly be, creating emails and trying to, nurture the list. You can just create that sequence.
Yeah. Well, and I think I know where I'm going to head after I get a lot of Podwrench done, which incidentally, I just hired a developer to help me build it. And he's worked with me before, so I was pretty comfortable making that call. But yeah, once I get Podwrench kind of clicking along, and with his help, I should be able to finish it a lot more quickly. But yeah, then what I want to do is I want to set something up that's kind of, how do I put it? Did you guys ever use Peepcode at all?
Peepcode?
Peepcode.
P-E-E-P. Oh, Peepcode. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey Grossenbach. It was bought by Pluralsight.
Yep.
And I think they wasted it incidentally.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I kind of want to put something together like that. And he had other people like building. They didn't really do courses. They were more like hour-long videos introducing you to some library or some concept. And I really like that model. Because I don't want people to be like, okay, I've got to spend 10 hours or 6 hours watching a course.
Right.
I want people to be, have it basically be an impulse buy where then they can impulse watch it, right? And an hour or a half hour seems to be about the right thing. So kind of what I'm envisioning there is Rails in an hour, or, and it's like, look, we're going to move a little bit quickly and we're going to gloss over some things. But at the end of the 1 hour, you should be able to pick up Rails and go fiddle with it on your own and build something that's somewhat useful. Vue in an hour, Vue.js or React in an hour. And then if people want to go and kind of string some of them together so that they can get like a full-on course, or maybe there's more Rails in another hour or something. If we just can't quite get it in an hour, so then they can, anyway. That's kind of the direction that I'm thinking of going in. And then I also want to do a whole bunch of stuff similar to what you did, John, for a while. but it's really focused around like that personal freedom, developer freedom kind of thing. And it's like, look, here's how you level up. Here's how you,
right,
you know, which is your 10 steps to learn anything quickly. Here's how you figure out what, you know, what's on trend that's going to pay off for you to learn. Here's how you go talk to, you know, here's how you talk to your boss to get a raise. Here's how you find a job where they will allow you to work on open source. You know, so all the things that people talk about as whatever fulfillment factor, you know. So if freedom to you means that I can go home at the end of the day and I don't have to think about work until I go back tomorrow, great. If freedom to you means I can go into work and work on things that really interest me, great, right? And so it's that kind of coaching, that kind of guidance that I can give to people. And so I want to do that too, but I think I'm going to structure that as a subscription.
Yeah.
And basically I already bought the domain for this, but anyway, so the idea is that, yeah, so you can come watch the videos or whatever, and we'll talk about some aspect of it. But then I also want to do a monthly Q&A for subscribers. And, you know, I'd probably post some of that Q&A on the podcast feeds, or, you know, like you're saying, you know, with Instagram and things like that. I went and looked at those slides by Gary Vee. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
The way that kind of goes together. And so I feel like I can do a lot of that stuff. And then I can also answer some of the shorter answers on YouTube and things like that and bring people in that way. But yeah, so I can essentially then help people create the kind of career that they want, instead of just coming in, you know, and yeah, newer people, it's more or less, I want to get paid to write code. But as you progress in your career, you can make it into something a little bit more deliberate instead of, oh, I went and got another job and got a raise.
Yeah.
And so that's where I want to go next. But and it's been really hard for me to hold back on that. The only reason I've been able to is because I haven't really started it yet, except for the book. And so anyway, if I can get Podwrench clicking along, then that takes a huge load off of me that way. And then I can actually start spending the time on this stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is something that you might want to just spin off as a separate brand, as a separate business altogether, really.
That's kind of what I was looking at, actually. So I put it under, I bought the domain DevRev, which is Developer Revolution, .io. And I'm gonna put it under there. I'm also gonna start doing the conferences again, and I'm gonna put that under devrev.io as well. And okay, so all of that, I mean, if it's focused around let's level you up, or let's make you a better person, or make you a better employee, or, you know, whatever it is that's going to get you that next step to where you want to wind up, all of that stuff's going to go under DevRev. And then all the podcasts and everything else will remain under devchat.tv.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would say the other piece of this is that before you really start on this, again, I mean, you're already kind of touched on this, but I would, just to double down on what you said, is I would get the podcast business on pretty much autopilot, because that's the thing. And again, you know, I'm kind of doing the same strategy with Bulldog Mindset. Is now that Simple Programmer, now that Josh is essentially running it, it doesn't require me for the day-to-day operation. I can build this new brand out, and, you know, and that's, I can put my more of my effort into that. So
yeah, the other thing is, though, is that there's a certain synergy. There is with YouTube between Simple Programmer and Bulldog Mindset. Bulldog Mindset's a little more general, I guess, in focus. But with mine, I mean, I can market DevRev through DevChat. And, you know, just kind of push everything through that way. But yeah, I as soon as I got challenged to basically get things to the point where I could take an entire month off without touching the business, from my business coach, I realized that I kind of need to do that anyway, just so that I can pursue the things that are really, you know, getting me up and getting me reared up to go.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think there's going to be some marketing that has to be done with Podwrench, but I think I can hire people to do most of that stuff, because that is much less tied to me personally as a host or personality behind the business or anything like that. than even dev chat is. And I can get away with a lot with dev chat anyway. But if I can get those things to the point where I don't really have to babysit them, and yeah, then it opens up a whole field of things for me to do what I really, I'm into at the moment. And if that gets to the point where, again, it's like, okay, I want to move on to something else, I feel like that's also a business that, again, I can automate down. And so I can pull other people in to do the videos, which is something I plan to do anyway. I'll have a team of people who know how to run the online conferences, so I don't have to worry about that. And I can just be as involved as I want to be.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got to tackle this other stuff first.
Yeah, one thing at a time is what I would agree with on that. Because it will just get overwhelming if you don't have the team in place and the automation and delegation in place.
Yeah, I've actually put out job listings for show notes folks, for and I've already talked to Eric about transitioning off the show notes. But what was the other one I listed? Oh, sponsorship sales. So I've got listings out for those, and I'm going to see if I can pull people in to take on some of that stuff too. And again, just free things up so that I'm only focused on the one thing right now, which is Podwrench and the automation, and then I can focus on, getting the book done and spinning up DevRev.
Yeah.
But I haven't been this excited about my work for a while, so.
Why's that? Why's that?
Well, I mean, part of it was just life was hard, and the other part of it, a lot of it just came down to the fact that I wasn't sure why anymore. Like, I didn't have that why behind it. And so I was showing up and recording podcasts, and initially I did it because I was excited about it and I thought it was cool, and I felt cool when I was doing it, but and I think that can motivate you for a while, but it wasn't enough. And so now it's okay, I can refocus the podcast to be about helping people free themselves from whatever parts of what they're doing that they don't want to do, and focus on the things that really fulfill them. And at the same time, I can turn around and build a community around that idea in DevRev.
Yeah.
And then that's exciting me, because I talk to people and I'm realizing that when I talk to people and they say the things to me about the shows that get me excited, it usually boils down to something related to that freedom. And so it's like, oh, I can go make this difference. I can go hit it. I can give them what they need, and then I'm making things better for them. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's I felt the same way since probably the last couple of weeks, since I really started just bearing down hard and hitting Pomodoro every day and getting organized and just busting ass. I felt a lot more excited about the work, and just I've been actually waking up in the middle of the night and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, shit, it's not 6 yet. I can't get up and get to work. So which is it's good. I haven't felt that way in a long time. So it's good. It's good. I think also part of it too, I was reading this real short book I got by Josh Kaufman. His new book is called How to Kill a Hydra. It's a little short, like metaphorical book, but he was talking about one of the concepts in the book, which I agree with, is he's talking about, like, the first time you do something, and sort of like when you start out in business, it's to prove something. It's like to prove something to yourself, to the world. It's like, it's almost like a validation thing. And that's kind of your purpose. And like you said, like, oh, it was cool. Like, I mean, you're a podcaster, you're a personality, like a celebrity in the developer world, right? It's like, that's kind of the driving force. Or you're an entrepreneur, like to call yourself, hey, I made money. I'm working for myself. Right. But then that wears off, because it's like, okay, well, I've already proven it. And then you kind of hit this slump. And then you get to this point where now you can have the bigger why and the bigger reason behind it, which you don't have to prove yourself anymore. Now there's the real reason, what really excites you about what you're doing. And so, yeah, so I think that's just the phase that we all go through, and in anything that we achieve, really, again, the same thing I experienced with fitness and with running, and all that is that, the first time is really to prove it. So,
yeah, interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. I think in Resilience, Eric Greitens talks about the idea that your motivations purify over time, though
exactly. Yeah,
we're not sure if his motivations purified over time, but he still wrote a good book. Yeah, no, it's a good book. And motivations purify over time is a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is like, I've gone through different things, and that it's not just that it's purified. I've changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what I want isn't what I used to want.
Yeah, that's part of purification, going through the process of becoming more of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so to the question of like, how often are you guys mucking around with the automation? Is it almost like daily, weekly basis? What's Josh doing?
What do you mean, like for automation?
With the email automation sequences and stuff like that? Are you doing it like every month, every quarter, and Simple Programmer?
Like changing the automation?
Yeah.
Not really. I don't know. I don't know if we've messed with it too much recently. I think Josh is he was on that for a long time, setting up all the workflows, and those are pretty much going now. So it could probably use a bit of a revamp to get some of these things flowing a little better.
Yeah, I feel like I need to have it such that at least once a quarter I need to redo it again, because things get stale.
Yeah.
And they're not the same as they used to be. And it's very easy to kick the can down the road when it comes to automation and stuff like that, because it's not immediate money.
Yeah.
It's not immediate gratification. So it's easy to say, later. But the thing is, that is probably one of the highest return things as well in the long term.
Yeah.
It's like you spend 3 or 4 days and it literally is worth thousands of dollars.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, the key thing I think about the automation is the biggest thing is having it in place at all, right? It's like, if you have an autoresponder email sequences, like, you should not have people signing up for an email list that are not getting pitched something. Even if it were just read this book on Amazon, that would be better than nothing, right? It's like, so that's the key, right? And then from there comes the making a more robust system, and then last comes those micro optimizations, which those micro optimizations can matter if you have a long funnel and you tweak them at multiple points.
And if you have a big list.
Yeah. And if you can tweak them at multiple points where you get, returns. And that's what I've been looking at is a lot of what I do, and the pieces I've been picking up with Simple Programmer and with YouTube and everything, is like looking for those little pieces that will make the big difference, right? So looking at, okay, this is the most, so one of the things I did recently was I looked at the most popular video that I have on the channel that gets the most views, and I looked at the cards on that one and to see what card, like, how could I tweak the card to make it perform? Because if it's only getting like a 5% click rate, then if I can double that to 10%, then I'm doubling the effectiveness on that, the most effective piece of and then if I can find all of those on the top videos, or, those little tiny tweaks, that adds up for a long way down that funnel. So
yeah,
it's kind of that whole, like, I think 80/20 sales and marketing, Perry Marshall's book, really hits that point home. Like, if you make, like 10% improvements in these parts of the funnel, it'll add up to like a 300% improvement overall, so.
So, but I would also like go to the other side of the 80/20 marketing and say that when you're starting off, you're much better off just saying, Email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4. Email 1, introduction to myself. Email 2, introduction to this product. Email 3, pitch the product. Email 4, deadline for the product. Literally, if you just put that for 2 or 3 products, and if you just wrote 2-line email for each of them saying, hey, I'm this and I do this, and then second email, third email, fourth email.
Yeah.
Over time, you can tweak it, make it better, increase it, do all those things. But if you literally just did that, that would be worth so much more, thousands of dollars more than just not doing it all because you want the perfect emails to go out. Perfection will be only done over time. But just saying email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4 are the pitches is enough. I think I had this epiphany only recently because I was like always obsessing over writing the perfect emails all the time. And then I was like, this is not even a big enough segment. Why am I so worried? I should just like write the basic email, let it go, and then come back later to make a better email or to optimize the sequence because I feel the segment has gone bigger. Like I was obsessing over that stupid segment and like trying to write the perfect emails and spending so much time over something that didn't really need to be done because it's such a small segment. I was much better off just saying, hey, the deadline is approaching and this is where you can buy the product. That would have at least started the process. And that would actually force me to improve.
Right.
As soon as I start seeing the results, I'd be like, all right, let me go and make the changes now that I see the results. Now I see something is happening.
Well, it comes down to the whole programming, idea of premature optimization, right? It's like we're tempted to, like, you can write the perfect email sequence, but here's the problem with writing the perfect email sequence is you don't have data, so you don't know. So you might like use your perfectionism to say, okay, I need to write these perfect and it takes you a long time or you never do it because it's not. Instead, if you write like 10 junk emails that just literally just pitch the product, like you said, you just wrote them in one afternoon, right? Created the whole thing. Then you're getting data. You're getting effectiveness already because probably if you spend that minimal amount of effort and just like do what will be the most effective with the least effort, you're probably going to capture 50% of the value right off the bat, right?
You will.
And then you're going to get data, and then you're going to use that data, and you can go back and you could actually tweak it based on real data and feedback, and you have a baseline, and now you can capture 60, 70%, 75% of the value. And it might not ever even be worth it to try and capture more than 75% of the value because there's diminishing returns. As you start to try and squeeze that lemon for more and more juice, like you get less and less juice for the amount of pressure they have to put on that lemon. So, above a certain point, it doesn't make sense to tweak the systems. It makes sense to build new systems or build, open the flow more. So buy more lemons, essentially. Yeah,
it's the 80-20 rule in play again. Like you just should spend 20% of your time on that damn thing, get the 80% result, and get out of there.
Exactly.
So bigger things rather than tweak that small little thing. And the 20% time isn't really that much compared to. For some reason, email automation is probably the scariest thing for every online entrepreneur. For every online entrepreneur I've ever met, email automation is the big, scary monster that they just don't want to touch. Not only email automation, but email marketing in general. Everyone. I've seen this so many times, literally from guys who are running like a 6-figure podcast business who have a list of 2,000 emails, all the way to guys who have, crazy, like they're doing big on Instagram and website, but they don't want to send their emails because they're scared of sending emails. Like I've seen this again and again. Every time you're like, why? They're like, oh, because it's such a price commodity. I'm like, shit, you're in so much trouble. All the time. It's like the most consistent thing you can watch to see if the guy has a real business or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If the guy is scared of email marketing, if email marketing is part of the business, then the business is not humming.
Yeah, I just need to level up on that. But again, it's one thing at a time.
Didn't mean to talk to you. Talk about you in this case.
I didn't feel singled out, but at the same time, it's just, in my case, it's just been really hard to prioritize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's like, you know, and some of the most profitable things that I've ever done in my business, it's kind of funny. They're the things I did in one afternoon.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, literally.
Sure.
Like,
exactly.
I'm sure.
When I first launched How to Market Yourself as a Software Developer, there was that $100 challenge we did here, right? I pre-sold it, and I just like, because we had to do it in 24 hours, like that was the thing that kicked it off and made that whole thing happen. You know, I created a course that ended up making a good amount of extra money for us. The 10 ways to make money from your blog in just one afternoon. You know, there's been just a ton of things that I've done. Like my original How to Create a Blog to Boost Your Career course, which is responsible for like half of our email list and a ton of like probably like $50,000 of Bluehost revenue and whatnot. It, again, was created in just one afternoon of just so my, you know,
you wrote the whole sequence in one afternoon is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Just take a day.
It's actually much better to have a gun to your head.
Yeah.
Who was it who said the secret to great results is secret to great results is a definite goal and not enough time to get it done.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Because that causes urgency, and that urgency forces you to focus way faster than you normally would have.
Yeah, it's true.
Like your urgency levels up your focus big time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I like
true.
that. Like email automation, who was it? Dan Fagella. I was listening to that interview with Yaro. I listen to it every once in a while. And he literally, like, he made it a point. Every weekend, he would write a new email sequence pitching a new course. That was his job. Every weekend, his job was to write a new email sequence. And this other guy, interesting, like I was in a war room meeting and Perry Marshall was talking about this idea. This guy, Perry likes to chew his nails.
Yeah.
Not Perry Marshall, Perry Belcher.
Yeah.
He likes to chew his nails all the way to the point that they get bloody, right? So he joined this guy's email list on how to stop chewing your nails or how to stop biting your nails. And he was talking about how the power of stupid automation, more or less. Like you don't have to get fancy with your automation. Like a lot of people stop themselves from doing any kind of automation because they're waiting for that perfect email sequence and all that stuff. So this guy, literally, all he did was every Monday at the same time, you'd get this email, still biting your nails? And it would say, still biting your nails? And it would say, if you are, here's my course. And Perry would watch it every time. It was like, dude, this guy is relentless. Just keeps like sending the damn email every Monday. Like there's nothing new to this thing. It's the same fucking email every Monday, right? And then one day he was biting his nails and he's all bloodied up and he sees that email, still biting your nails? And he just goes ahead and buys the damn product. That's the power of automation.
Yeah, just dumb, blind persistence, right? Even the blind squirrel gets a nut, right? It's like you just gotta do it. Yeah,
dumb, blind persistence will beat the savviest
it's true.
Savviest and the smartest.
And I am wondering, just listening to you talk through this, if just setting up that affiliate gauntlet, you know, taking a day and just doing it might not just be worth it.
I'll tell you too. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you too, if you want to see the biggest losers in life, just go to a Mensa meeting. All right, so
aren't they supposed to be geniuses?
Yeah, when I got my Mensa card, right, I went to a couple of the meetings. I was like, oh, this will be kind of cool. And it's like all these intellectual people that spend their time playing Scrabble and theorizing the best way to build a business, and and trivia, and they're smart, they're geniuses, right? But the problem is they don't do shit. Like if they were dumber, they would be more successful. It's because they're so smart, because they're outthinking themselves, because they're not taking action. Right. It doesn't mean that people that have high IQs don't necessarily succeed. I'm just saying that a majority of the people that go to the Mensa meetings that associate with the group, they're more concerned about their intelligence than they are about actually taking action. And so it's kind of interesting. Like, you would think that those people would be the super successful people in life, and most of them work at GameStop. Or, you know, it's like they're idiot savants, and they're like the reverse of that. They're savant idiots, right? So it's so taking action, just brute force action, just take an afternoon and just who cares if it's good, who cares if it's right, if it matters, just write what you think, and just make that email sequence, and you've got it. And then you've got something. And even if you're only capturing 10% of the value, now you're capturing value that you weren't capturing before, right? So, and
people are not going to remember your emails, and they're not going to remember exact details you said earlier on. You could keep on sending the same shit again and again, and they won't remember. Not only that, you can actually copy John's, basically you can take their email, copy for whatever they're marketing, however they're marketing, how to market yourself, and write it in your own tone. And that's your work done for you while you sell the damn product.
Yeah, that's true. My business coach, to John's point, says inspiration without implementation is hallucination.
Yeah. And I will add to that point, because that's a very interesting, actually, I've seen this happen to almost in every area of life, even to myself. What happens, John, in that situation is you expect things to be easier, and that is your downfall. That is when life, like any area of life where you start to expect things to be easier, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're so fucked. Seriously. Like, no matter how good you are, no matter how good you are, as soon as you start you expect things to be easy, you are in for a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So those people, the Mensa guys, the reason why they don't take action, or the reason why they don't go anywhere, is because they believe they're geniuses, so things should come easy.
Right.
And when things don't come easy, they're like, fuck this, let me go do something else. I started this business a month ago, nothing is working, fuck this, let me go do something else. Little do they know, most guys have struggled through business for 5 years before anything fucking happened. But that's the way they want it to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's for every area of life, you will see this consistently. So it's almost like I have to tell myself every day, it's going to be 10x harder than I thought it was going to be in every area of life.
Yeah. That's why that's such a good book.
Yeah. 10x rule.
Yeah. Because it makes you think in those terms.
That and the indestructible mind, which you don't like, undefeated mind.
Oh,
yeah. 10x hard, 10x harder, 10x harder.
I haven't read either of those books. I need to check them out.
Or you can listen to my interview with the author of the book on my podcast.
Yeah, I could do that too.
Yeah.
I could do both and get the best of both worlds.
You should start with the interview. It'll give you a good overview, and then you can dig deeper into the book.
I could do that.
Yeah. Listen at 2x. It'll only take you 20 minutes.
Certainly at 2x everything else.
Yeah, exactly. I've got your whole plan laid out for you. Yeah. I like it, man. I think we're getting close to John running away soon, so.
Yeah, I got to get going here.
I have a podcast interview at the same time as.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Automation. But simple automation, I think, is the key. Or to the point where it's simple that you can deploy in a day is the most beautiful, rather than stuff that you deploy in a month, which is the most dangerous, because you'll probably end up making it so complicated that it's not even worth it at that point.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, let's say that I set aside Monday to do this, which at this point, looking at my calendar, is actually doable. But because I have one podcast interview on Monday and that's it. So let's say that I sit down and do it. If I can get 2 or 3 weeks worth of automation in on that day, right? Then I can, if I do it again the next week, then I'm just getting that much further ahead. But if not, then I can focus on Podwrench for a week or 2 or 3, and then I can come back around and set up a few more automated sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so what I'm thinking is that next week, is that next week? No, but yeah. So next week, I lied. I have one podcast interview and I have a call with my developer, and my team meeting. But yeah, like I could set that up, and then yeah, that gives me a few weeks. But then I can buckle down and I can get some of the pod wrench done. But what it does is then it keeps the machine running until I get around to the other stuff.
Are you committing to doing that by next call?
Yeah, I am. I will commit to that. I will have at least 2 weeks automated.
Perfect.
So that would be like 5 or 6 or even 10 emails at some point.
Yeah.
A lot of emails, man.
But what I'm thinking about doing is I really like the what is it, the automated sales machine. I know that's not right. But yeah, I like their approach. And essentially, so it's a couple. Yeah, and so essentially, then I send them a couple emails to see if they're interested. If they click through on any of those emails, then they get more stuff. That kind of leads them into that pitch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even I wouldn't complicate the automation at all, man. Like at this stage where you're doing it, like with the early phases, you just start with indoctrination and with pitching one product that you decide. If it's John's product, which is probably a good idea because it's a pretty solid product.
Do you have an affiliate set up for that, John?
Yeah, you'll have to ask Josh how he's got it set up now.
And you should get a discount code from these guys.
Yeah.
You can just say, hey, we have a limited time discount, 50% off or whatever. And that's probably the best way to pitch anything like that, especially affiliate offers like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And don't worry about whether they're clicking or not. Just put them in the sequence the first time around. You can fine tune all of this shit later on. Otherwise, you're just going to overcomplicate everything.
That's true. I also need to get things together so that I can start collecting emails off of devchat.tv again, because there's something messed up in that part of things. So.
Oh man, like I know for myself, if anything was broken in my lead gen machine, that'd be the first thing I'd be fixing because it's such a important part of the business.
Well, the other thing is that once I get ready to launch DevRev, I want a large list to push to.
Exactly.
You need that. That's probably
so I need my list to be growing, not because I do get unsubscribes when I send stuff, and since I'm not really getting any new people in, the list is shrinking. It's shrinking slowly, but it's shrinking.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I got to figure that out.
That should take another day to just run through all of that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I can set up some of that stuff and then I can hand it off to Michelle.
Yeah.
Here's how to set up the rest of this, because a lot of the stuff on there is, she can go back and look at numbers and then say, hey, over the last 6 months, these are the most popular episodes, and then put that up as a lead magnet, or some of the other stuff. But yeah.
I better jump off here. Yeah. So I'll give you mine because I got to drop off. Mine is basically find evidence as to why you suck and are not a badass, right? This is something, that I was thinking about this a lot. This is what's helped me level up probably more than anything else in life, is every time that I think like I thought I was a badass because I was running 10 miles, 4 times a week. And then I read that book, Living with a SEAL. I'm like, oh, you're a fucking wimp. Like, and I ran a full marathon the next day. Same thing even now when I'm running, I'm hearing about guys. Like I just signed up for another marathon in January, like a dopey challenge. So like 4 back-to-back races. And there's guys that run the Western 100 miler that run 200 miles a week. And, there's guys that are over 200 pounds that are able to hit marathons in like 2.5 hours. So like, everything I think, from business, from whatever you think that you're a badass, as soon as you start to think that you're a badass, it's much harder to level up. But when you start like surround yourself with the stories, read about people, listen to people, be around people who are way more of a badass than you. And that's the fastest way to become more of a badass. So
yeah, I like it. I think I'm gonna just piggyback on that and say, instead of thinking of yourself as a badass, think of yourself as a badass work ethic guy, like who's gonna put in the work and expect it to be 10x harder. Fuck, man, expect everything in life is gonna be 10x harder than you want it to be. Literally, if you're going for average, then you probably don't worry about 10x harder. But as soon as you go for any kind of above, excellence, you have to expect it to be 10x harder than you think your skills allow it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is just assuming that it's going to be hard. Here's my pick: is figure out why you're doing it. Go in, think about, what am I after? What do I want to accomplish? What are my values that are going to guide me to getting there? And what do I need to do it? Without that driving force, it's really hard to keep going. And if it's going to be 10x harder than you thought, and it's going to kick you in the rear end, you really have to know that this is what you want.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, I'll be in India for the next couple of weeks, so I'm not sure if I'll be dialing in. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Peace out.
All right, guys. See you later.
Yeah, bye.